Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Camera 64 podcast. And I am your host, Alfonso Chavez. And as always, we're coming to you from here in my garage in San Antonio, Texas. Actually, we're in a suburb called Universal City. But yes, we are still coming to you from my garage in Texas. So today, guys, I haven't made a video in a while, and it's kind of a long story, but I don't want to go too much into that story. But let's just say that I'm happy to be alive. To put it on the lighter side, guys, I'm still here. I'm still kicking. But after a pretty severe accident at work, unfortunately, I find myself in a kind of rather odd situation for the first time in my life where I'm not sure what I want to do, if that makes any sense. I've been a professional driver now for a little over 30 years. And this accident has really changed the way I guess I look at my job or my career. I mean, I've always known, don't take this the wrong way, but I've always known that being a professional driver is a high risk job. I think it's still probably in the top 5 of riskiest jobs to do in America. So I knew the risk, and I have lost friends in the past, drivers who have made mistakes, or drivers who were at the mistake of somebody else's, causing them to lose their life. And I finally, last week, found myself in that same predicament where I almost lost my life, and it was truly my fault. I just, one of those things where accidents happen and you're not quite sure what exactly happened. I mean, I know that I kind of dozed off, but the thing is I'm not sure how that happened, because I always take really good care as far as how much time I spent sleeping before each and every shift that I take. But somehow it got away from me. I'm not sure, to be quite honest. I'm not sure. But with that, let's go ahead and move forward. Now, if you're liking my channel, I hope that you are. If you could give me a thumbs up, that would be great. If you could leave me a comment, if there's something that you would like to have me talk about on this channel, I'd be more than happy to talk about that. But today on the channel, guys, let's get into it. Today I'm going to be doing some tabletop photography, okay? So as many of you know, in the past, I've been talking about how slow photography has been for me over the past probably 2 years now. It's just gotten to the point where everybody still wants to hire us. They will call us, and they will have us walk through our whole procedure. And when we get to the price, a lot of times people turn the other way. When we get to that portion, they want to hire us, but they're wanting to hire us at the price that they want to pay. And unfortunately, what they want to pay is a whole significantly less than what I charge. Sometimes I can meet them halfway, and other times I just don't see why I should have to do that. This is a hard job. I always like to tell new photographers this photography job is not easy. When new photographers come in, they seem to think that it's very easy. I think a lot of people think that photography is very easy, but in fact, it is very difficult from on a standpoint where you do have to have some kind of money. You're going to spend some money, let's put it that way, to have a website, to have a way to present your photos when they're done, to be able to edit your pictures, to being able to provide nice contracts for your clients and customers. It's pretty involved, right? So I find myself in a situation where I'm just not getting any clients. I've spent the last 2 months just basically doing absolutely nothing, and I've got all this gear here that is just not being utilized. So I've got to come up with a solution. Do I just go ahead and start slowly selling some of this stuff off, is my thought. And I think I'm going to do just that, is I'm going to start selling some of this stuff off that I just don't use as much, or use for very specific, very niche kind of things. things that I use for very niche kind of or very specific kinds of photography, like landscape and other things, you know, long telephoto lenses I just don't use anymore that I still own. And since I don't have a use for them and I'm not making any money from it, like the old adage goes, right? The fastest way to make money in photography is to sell all your stuff. That's kind of where I find myself at. I don't currently, I currently am still up in the air as to where I'm going to be working moving forward, but we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, I've still got to provide for my family, right? That's just how it works. That's how it goes in life. We have to do, like the old adage says, we got to do what we got to do. So I'm going to make a little session about this. And first I'm going to talk about some of the gear that we're using here, just so you get an idea and what we're going to be doing here. And I'm going to show you around my garage just so you can see that this is, in fact, it's a garage, right? Plain and simple. It is a working, I call it a working garage, right? So there's all my tools. I do enjoy working on cars. So I do got my big old tool set right there. My wife stores some of our food there in the pantry, and we have 2 refrigerators in here as well as our washer and dryer over there. But if you're familiar with me, there's my background for where I shoot my YouTube videos from. But today's setup is we have a 6-foot table with just a spandex stretch on it. And then I set up my 4-foot table here where I'm going to have my computer, so I'm going to shoot straight into this Surface laptop here. And we're going to use the good old-fashioned Canon 20D, as you can see there. And there's my my connection. I forget the name of this brand. I always forget the name of it. This is the Tether Pro. Tether Pro, so I can shoot directly into it. And we're going to use my 36-inch softbox, and we're going to use the good old reliable Flashpoint 360, and it's got its own little battery right there, and just a simple light stand. And for our background, we're using our regular studio background, which is where I shoot pictures on for clients that come in. And it's just a paper roll. It's a 96 inches across. So it's about a little bit over 4.5 feet wide. And then the table is just going to go back into there. I'm going to set up a flash right behind. And we're going to start with a green gel just to see what this looks like. So we're going to have a completely all black setup here. And we're going to have the green as our backdrop. And we're going to have a 36-inch softbox to light our subject, which is going to be my first lens that I'm working on here. This is a 14 to 24 millimeter Sony. Sony Sigma. And it's not perfect by any means, but I bought it used, and it's been in my collection for about 4 years now. And even though it's got a couple of scratches here and there on the lenses, it still is a viable choice. I used it more for shooting video versus anything else, and it's been good at that. So, but to be honest, I don't use it as much as I used to because I have since picked up a 16 to 35 for video purposes, and that seems to be working all fine. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Let's go ahead and get the settings figured out. So I'm going to take a little bit of time here and finish setting this up, but let me go a little bit more into the setup, and that is that we're going to be using a Canon 20D, and I have a X Pro transmitter that's going to trigger my lights. So as always, my favorite lens is on this camera, and many of you may or may not know, but my favorite lens is the 24 to 105 f4. I think it's excellent. I think it's an excellent lens, and I highly recommend it to anybody. especially if you're new, it's a great value proposition, right? You pay just a little bit of money and you get excellent image quality, I think, in my opinion. And I always have to remind myself to say in my opinion, because everybody sees it. Everybody always sees things differently, right? That's the one good thing about photography. Everybody's opinion matters, but nobody's opinion matters. So I'm just gonna take a quick test shot here. Oh, so we need some batteries. Doggone it. And in case you're wondering what kind of batteries I use the PAL Blue. They're lithium batteries. I bought these originally with the intention of using them in the flashes themselves, but for whatever reason, they overheat very quickly in the flashes, and I thought that was very dangerous because they do get very hot very quickly, and so I stopped using them for that. But they work really well in the transmitters. They provide a whole lot of power, and they last basically forever, a really long amount of time. I'm going to take my first test shot here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start at quarter power here. And put my camera in manual mode. We're going to go 1/25 of a second, f4. And we're going to go ahead and set our ISO to 200. Let's see what we get. Okay guys, I'm back. I'm sorry it took me a little bit longer than what I was expecting, but I essentially had to change my whole setup. Now, I originally was thinking about using my my Canon 20D, which I would have been more than happy to use, but I really wanted to shoot this tethered into Lightroom here on my Surface laptop, and so I was not able to do that with the 20D. It was not recognizing the 20D as an import source in Lightroom, so I had to switch to my Canon 5D Mark II, and pretty much it's the same setup that we talked about, although I did start with a huge 46-inch softbox on my main light, but that ended up also not being a good thing, and so I had to get more of a spotlight, because even with the grid on the softbox, I was getting a lot of spill onto the background, which I did not want. So I went ahead and just decided to spot this, and I'm using my favorite modifier and my most expensive, like I always tell the joke, but using my Pringles can. I just put my Pringles can on to this 360 here and just spotted it. I went ahead and just spotted the light. So now I'm getting some really good results now, and I think I got everything locked down now. So it's a Canon 5D Mark II. I'm using the Pro X2, and I'm using a Flashpoint 360 Streak 350 with a battery pack. And for the table, it's just a simple tabletop like what I talked about when we first got started. In the back, I've got a very basic, I think it's the basic speed light, but also in the R2 system, and I just have it gelled back there with a green gel, and that's it. So I have no way of showing you this on here, but I'll go ahead and at this point right here, right now, I'll go ahead and put these pictures up there so you can get an idea of what we're doing. And I think I got a pretty good result. Now, it did take me about 25 to 30 minutes to get this just right, and that's not out of the ordinary, right? It's just, that's just what it takes sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this so I can get the other side of this. Just like so. And everything's set up, everything's tied off. So I'm going to get the exact same shot just with the lens turn here. And I'm shooting this in live view. So I'm back button focusing this. And then I take the shot. So back button focus. And then just push to take my picture. Perfect. Yeah, and that's looking fantastic. I don't think I can get that any better. And I'm selling these secondhand, guys. If you're in need of a wide angle for your camera, you might want to consider one of these. Now, this lens is not perfect by any means, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I photographed this correctly. This is a bulbous lens, which I really like, guys. I don't know why. Ever since I started photography, I always wanted to have a lens that was bulbous in the front. I don't know, I just saw somebody with one and I thought, man, you know, I want one of those. And I will replace this, I'm sure, if my photography takes off again. But right now, I need some money. I gotta make some money. So I'll sell this copy. This can be really helpful to somebody, just as it was for me. This lens was really helpful for me. And you can see in the front, it's got some scratches. You can clearly see them right there. And this lens was dropped at some point. I don't know who dropped it, but it was dropped at some point. And that's what allowed me to get it so cheaply. I think I paid, when I bought it, I think it was $500, I think is what I paid for it when I got it. And I'm gonna sell it for like $350, maybe $300. Somebody makes a reasonable offer, $300. Even with all the scratches on here, it still works really well, especially for video. It's a great lens for video. Very nice. So that's it, guys. That's it for this session for today. This has been the Camera 64 podcast. And if you would like to see more of these tabletop sessions, let me know. I will be doing more of these here at the house because there's just a lot of stuff I own that I just don't use at the moment. And rather than just let it sit, I'd much rather have somebody out there use it who maybe could benefit from it. I'm not benefiting from it at the moment, and so I could use a little bit of extra cash. That's what it comes down to, right? The old saying, the fastest way to make money in photography is to sell all your stuff. So that's what I'm doing right now. I really hope that everybody else out there is doing fantastic in photography. Ultimately, that's what I would wish and pray for everybody, not just myself, but for everybody to be able to make a living doing this, because this is a whole lot of fun, and I really wish that I could continue forward in this, and I'm going to try my best to find an avenue where that's possible. So I'm having to make this decision right now, you know. It's a tough decision, without a doubt, but maybe I'll be back. Who knows? We never know, right? It's life. That's how life is. It's a series of yes and no's and maybes and no way and here today and not tomorrow. That's just how it works, right? That's what life is all about, guys. But I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I know it was nothing really fancy, but I just wanted to share some kind of video, let you know what was going on right now. And we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Take care. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If not, give us a thumbs down, but let us know why, guys. Take care. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.